Great. Hello, and welcome. My name is Anja Simmons, and I'm a parenting success coach. I have started this series that I'm so excited about conscious parenting experiences, and so I have been interviewing mothers and their journey. And today we're switching it up a little bit, and I'm quite excited for this in that I have the lovely Marisa with me, and we're going to do actual live coaching. So Marisa and I'm going to treat it as if Marisa is my client and show sort of a little bit about how I work and what it is I offer as we work through any parenting struggles that Marisa might have.
Sounds good. Hello.
Oh, hello. Good. Yes, awesome. So let's just start from the beginning. Rather than go into where the struggles are right now, can you just tell me a little bit about your journey into pregnancy, having babies, like how that sort of started, how if it was smooth, if there were struggles there, that would help me.
Sure.
And, I'm jotting bits down just so that I can remember things.
Yeah, absolutely. So with my first, we decided one day we're going to start we were ready to be parents. So we thought, that pregnancy went very smooth. Doctors called it my textbook pregnancy. So it was lovely. However, when she was born, my daughter, my firstborn, it wasn't as smooth as the pregnancy.
Okay.
She was the type of child who would only sleep only for 45 minutes at a time, whether it was nighttime, daytime. So I really didn't get a lot of rest, and being a new parent, they don't come with manuals.
And even if they do, it's not going to help because each one is so different. It's going
Exactly.
Hold baby when cries.
So with her, it was a bit of a struggle and a transition. So we went from just being the two of us to now with a newborn baby, and I'm trying to heal my body because I had a cesarean.
Okay.
And also trying to figure out this baby who, one, will only sleep 45-minute intervals. She does not want to breastfeed. Okay. Wants nothing to do with that, even after everything that I tried under the sun. And just trying to integrate through it. So that was pregnancy number one.
How old is she now, this number one?
She's 7 now. She'll be 8 next weekend.
Oh, okay.
So, and just to give you a little bit more background about her, so she is my typical firstborn. Very caring, very kind, very considerate of others. But she's got this energy about her where she's just attracts people to her. She is just a magnet. And she's my artistic child. So she's into the dancing, into drawing, and anything arts related, it speaks to her. Like today, if you were to ask her what she wants to be when she grows up, she'll tell you. She's got her plan. She's going to be a dancer until she can't. So once she can't dance anymore because she's getting older, according to her plan,
I love it.
She's going to sing.
Yeah.
So that the singing will replace the dancing. So that's.
I love when it's a plan. That's 7, right? That sign you up right now.
Yeah, that's her plan. That's what she's going to do in life, and she's very sensitive. So we, as parents, have to be really, really mindful of the things we say to her because she takes everything to heart.
Right.
And she's easily wounded. Like just sentimental and emotionally.
Yeah.
So that's something we've kind of have had to navigate through as parents.
Right.
So that's child 1. I can explain child 2, who's completely different.
Of course. Love it.
Yeah. So with child 2, we had some struggles right from the get-go. Because my first pregnancy was easy, we didn't have anything to worry about. The second time when we decided, we're ready to add to our family, it didn't go as smoothly as we had expected.
Okay.
We tried for quite a while, actually. I would say for almost 2 years, about 18 months to try to get pregnant again.
Okay.
And through the whole process, some things came up for me medically and physically that I wasn't aware of. So I learned that I had insulin resistance. I learned that I had PCOS.
What's PCOS?
It's the polycystic ovarian syndrome, so where you're not ovulating regularly.
Right, okay.
So with that came a bunch of other things as well. And we were absolutely disheartened when we learned the news, because I was a healthy eater. I exercised regularly. Like, I already took care of my body. Mm-hmm. And so when we learned that this was going to be a challenge that we needed to work through, of course we were gutted.
Right.
And at first, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. However, today, I'm very grateful I went through those things, because it taught me a lot. Although it was probably the darkest time in my life, mm-hmm. As a mother, as a wife, as an individual, right. I learned so much about myself. I learned so much about my marriage. It made me stronger in every way possible.
Beautiful.
That I didn't think would. I truly didn't. Sitting in the mess of it all, I did not see that I would come out on the other side.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So there was that, and then it made our marriage so much stronger. We were already a strong partnership, mm-hmm. but this just created, it's hard for me to even explain. It just created this partnership where we get each other.
Beautiful.
It's just,
yeah, that's awesome. That is
naturally awesome. Happens.
Yeah, which is wonderful, because you do hear situations where it goes the other way.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
Really lovely to stand up for each other. You know?
It either makes you or breaks you, right? Mm-hmm. So we had that, and when we had actually decided as parents, we were actually looking at other options. Mm-hmm. And as we had decided, you know what, we have one. We have to be grateful. We're already parents of one, a beautiful child. Mm-hmm. Some parents can't have any, or haven't been able to have any. Let's be grateful for the one that we have.
Right.
And I would say, so I was working through healing my body naturally, naturopathically, through some acupuncture and all sorts of other treatments. Through all of this, after we had come to terms that, you know, we're going to have this one child, we're going to love it and be grateful, we learned that we were pregnant.
So weird how that works.
So with child number 2.
Right.
And I actually remember this so clearly. I was in my naturopathic's office, and I remember her saying to me, okay, so how are things going? And I'm explaining to her, and she's trying to ask me about my cycle and all that. And I'm like, yeah, I haven't had a cycle for, a while. And she's like, but have you done a test? No, I've done way too many tests. I've had too many false positive, I've failed there. I'm not going back. And so I lived in denial a little bit, and she said, okay, I want you to go home and do a test. And so I sat with this test around the house, didn't touch it for about almost 2 weeks. And then I finally got the courage to do it. Mm-hmm. And of course, I learned that good news and then shared it with her, and the rest is history. But child number 2, she's my bundle of love.
Oh, what a lovely way to say.
She exudes love no matter where she goes. She's got this aura about her that people just want to come up to her and hug her.
Nice.
Even people that don't
about you, so she's got that of you, because you feel very huggable.
Oh, thank you. You're so kind to say that. Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate that. But she's very different from my oldest. Bundle of love, very stubborn. I tell her she lives on her own island.
Okay.
She makes her own rules. Like, even if you told her this is how you're going to learn how to ride a bike, she will find her own way to ride that bike and prove to you that there is another way.
Love it. Yes.
So she's very much like that. Second child, so she looks up to her sister quite a bit, believes in herself that she can do what her sister can do, no matter the age gap. They're 4 years.
Right now, she's
3.5.
3.5, right?
So they're 4 years apart.
Mm-hmm.
And she also is she gets caught up in the technicality of things. And I think that's just all part of her. She's a September baby. So I think that all plays into part with her. So, but she is the one kid that will never forget anything. And she will always find a solution for something in her own unique way.
Wow. She's going to enjoy life. That is lovely. Love that. Love that. A bit of no fear, right? Love it. Life's good. Here I am.
Yeah. She, as a parent, sometimes that can be a little challenging. I'm not going to lie.
No, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
But she's a different
breed, we have to say, right?
Yeah, different breed.
There you go. Wonderful. Okay, so that just gives me some ideas, some guidelines as to where we got to where we are now. Both you and your husband work, right?
We do. We both work full time. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So where can I help you? What would be an area that you would like a little support, a little bit of guidelines?
I think with the youngest, mm-hmm. because she's so determined to, do her own unique journey. Mm-hmm. As a parent, sometimes we struggle to get her to cooperate.
Okay.
And work with us as a team. Okay.
And she's just 3.5, right? She's
3.5. So oftentimes, she'll, like, if we ask her to do something super, super simple, to cooperate and pull her weight as part of our family, mm-hmm. she'll resort to whining and crying and kind of say, well, I can't do it because I'm no longer capable of doing this. Yet yesterday she did it perfectly fine.
Right. Beautiful. I love it. I love those ones. I love those little people like that. I have one myself. Okay, so I work from the side of the parent, right? From the side of the parent getting conscious about how we show up when this happens, and techniques and things that we can do to smooth the situation, to change the situation. So everything is about us as opposed to trying to switch and fix her. Okay? So it's a little coming from a bit of a different angle to most people. I have loads of things in terms of my background to say, oh, well, this is what we do with the child, but I'm really realizing that conscious journey, it's us.
For me, yeah.
Okay, I know, I can tell from what you said that you're already on that path there. So beautiful. Okay, so let's think. So in a situation where, what would be a worse time for you? Like for her to cooperate would be like a morning and evening, bath time, dinner time? Like
I would say the struggles that we find the most with her are either early morning especially when my husband, he has to be out of the house by a certain time. There are some mornings where she can be a little bit resistant.
Right.
And then I would say after dinner. So as we've sat down and ate as a family, now we're like, okay, it's time to pick up her plates and move them to where they need to be taken care of.
Right.
And half the time she's like, well, she points to her sister. She's like, you do it for me. Like, I'm not doing it. She's like, no, I'm good.
I'm totally happy. I do not need to do that. Right. Okay. So let's start with the morning. So let's go to the story a little bit. So in the story, is it totally your husband at that point getting her ready to go? Or
we're both available in the morning, and I help them with the routine.
Okay.
But there are some mornings where she purposely will stall a little bit, and although he's never been late for work, but it stresses him out a little bit. And I know he's very laid back. He doesn't get ruffled easy, but she seems to know how to ruffle him quite a bit.
She's taking it up a level now. She's like, no, okay, it was too smooth. Okay, so what I'd like you to think about a moment is before you've even interacted with her in the morning, before like you've got up, whatever your routine is, whatever you do for yourself, do you think there's a truth that maybe as you show up, you're already a little bit in that, oh my gosh, this morning's going to be a struggle. Oh my gosh, this morning she's not going to cooperate. We're all going to be late.
Yeah. And I say this because I've recently changed my morning routine for myself, where I've built in a little bit of like a 45 minutes where I get up. It's just me sitting down, waking up, and, you know, doing my gratitude in the morning and drinking my lemon water by myself. So I've been doing this for about a month now.
Awesome.
And I found since I've done this, I can manage her a little bit better in the morning, and I can kind of meet her where she's at.
Perfect. Because that's the self-care. That's the bit that you're taking care of you, grounded and where you're at, and not running straight in with the, we have to hurry. Now, many children, and it sounds a little bit like your second one especially, she's so on her own path that she isn't, she doesn't feel the necessity to help you. She doesn't feel the like worry or the guilt or whatever from what we're bringing. But what we're doing is we're bringing that in. We're forcing it on her because of our own energy, our own chat, our own, you know, if you don't do this, it's going to be this. And if you don't, and now we're going to be late. And we start our day, I'm guilty of that too, from that place. So I love that you're doing that. That is an awesome step. And hopefully maybe your husband will be able to join you a little bit in there. No matter what it be, it could even be that if he takes a shower in the morning, he really talks himself into this moment is perfect. Because
I think I need to kind of help him do that, because the way we have it structured now is I get those 45 minutes to myself to do what I need in the morning and kind of prepare for the family to get up and meet me downstairs.
Right.
And so right now he will himself get up with his alarm, walk to her room, grab her and bring her down. So he's already in that mode. Right. And I think that suggestion is wonderful, because I think we need to work on that.
Just a little bit, so that his approach to her is not already in the we're going to be late. Because at that point, let's face it, you're not late. At that very moment, no one's late for anything. Right? So it's that reframing that actually, good morning, what a lovely day. Isn't this day going great? Coming into that mentality, so that as you start that, because she's probably ready for battle the minute he's gone in the room, right? Because it's kind of like from her side, I would imagine when you think about it, you're just waking up and she likes to kind of go at her own time, not personally towards you guys. That's just how she is. And we take it personally as in she's stalling and she's making this and she's doing this. Whereas really she's just reacting to our energy. And for many of us, that energy, especially as parents and working, you've got to get places. So we start with that. And what I'm saying is, let's step back. Let's approach it from life is great. It's already going as smooth as it is. And when we have that mentality, our approach is so different. We can take that little second to snuggle. We can take that little moment to smell her. You know, they're so delightful at that age. You know, that you can take that moment to just be present with her and then begin the day. Okay? And then, so for your oldest around this time, she sort of gets up and gets herself going and comes down?
Yeah, she's usually the last one up. And I just usually will either let her come down on her own, or if we're getting close to time that she needs to be up, dressed, breakfast to get on the bus, then I will meet her upstairs with breakfast in hand and be like, okay, girl, let's start.
Right. So a similar idea still with her, that's lovely. There's no problem with that, you know, feeding wherever, but is creating that same energy of, and actually what's nice with her age, you can bring your 3.5-year-old in too, is to have a family meeting and structure it in such a way that, you know, for me, mornings are not working. It is creating such a stress for the day. And I feel that you guys must be feeling it too, you know, because to start your day from that, you're never catching up, right? They must feel, then you go to school and then you're behind on this and then you have to go over here. And so these poor little lovies are just like, what? When do you ever get there? To get to. So you could start by sort of saying, okay, what can we do to help each other? Right? You're claiming your 45 minutes. Your husband's claiming whatever. And you might be surprised by the little bits that they bring in. So it doesn't all fall on you. So you're not starting your day behind either. Okay? This is an idea. I found that these family meetings are so amazing that everybody gets a say. So your little 3.5-year-old, her ideas might not even be fathomable, but it's lovely. She gets to be part. And that's, from there is what you're bringing in the family dynamic. We as a family are creating our morning routine. We as a family, and we're going to be flexible because some days it isn't going to be, but I think that starting from there will give you the opportunity to really enforce us as a group, us as a family. How does that sit? How do you feel?
I love that.
Okay.
That's beautiful. And I think it'll help them, my little people, feel like they're being heard as well and they're being considered.
Absolutely. And that you trust that they've got this. You're trusting that you, like, at their level, at their age, we know you can handle this.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe your little one loves to roll out of bed and play a minute. Maybe she wants to get woken up a few minutes early to do that. I mean, you know, you can talk to me. And the same for your older one. If that's a stress for you to you know, she can make sort of adjustments and come and say, you know, what can it take to get you down here for 8 o'clock or whatever the time is, right?
Yeah.
So I love that whole integration, because it really sets that up that we are a family. So I love what you were saying before about the dinner time and things. And I think when we start it with, okay, and you could bring up dinner time and bring up a different meeting, right? Because we can all only handle so many lessons. Is the idea that you could have a time where you talk about how important it is that we all are part of the family. And when we do that from a centered and grounded place, we're offering that as opposed to telling, as opposed to demanding, as opposed to kind of, this is what's going to happen and you'll follow, right?
Yeah.
Because when we're on a tight schedule, it can feel that way. So my idea is really just that reframe and sort of say, you know, you could sort of say, what things around dinner do we all need to participate in? You know, and maybe give everybody a little bit of a job before dinner, depending on what you're doing, you know, setting the table or putting out the water, and what job, you know, and you can all sort of talk about what do you not like, what do you like, and this is what we're going to do. And so when we set it up that way, you're not even thinking it's not going to happen. You're not even thinking like, oh, I can already see she's going to be like, no way. You know? We're going to come at it from the place of we're all in it together, you know, in ways that you could, you know, you help her out, your husband helps her out, or, you know, here, I'm going to take your glass, go ahead and put your plate and thing in the dishwasher and move on. So you're not hovering, waiting to see she not, because that's back. The power's back to her, and it's not a good power. She's not going to feel, nobody feels good if you're not, you know, part of something. If your natural ability is, I'm part of the family. And I love that you have your dinner times together, you have your times together, because that's hard when you're all busy.
I mean, it's not always perfect, I'm going to be honest.
No, but it never will be. And I never want to strive for that. For me, it's really just that the reframes and the changes on days when it can be. Some days, we always laughed, or my kids always tease me, because I would start my day feeling really great. I'd go down, I'd start breakfast, and I was constantly in the time watch and like, let's go. And it would be like, I'd be all loving, and then suddenly I'd go, every bloody morning I have to make you cry, you know. And I didn't realize that was a regular thing I said, but apparently I did. Because it ends up being my responsibility. And those things are not my responsibility. I can do my part, right? But the other parts are. And then we have to sort of decide, too, as parents, what bits don't really matter. You want to be careful. You don't go into the story of like, oh, she's never going to clear her plate away. It's always everyone's going to serve her. Everyone's going to, right? Because we can go there and think, who is she? Who does she think she is, little missy? As opposed to certain things don't matter. They really don't. And letting it go because it's the story that's making us enforce it, as opposed to thinking, she doesn't want to clear her plate away. But not making it the deal, making it be sort of, so maybe your older daughter is in charge of clearing the table. Your younger is in charge of setting it. Or, so that we circumstand or we go around pieces that feel really the struggle.
Yeah.
And it's hard if you feeling like the poor older one is doing everything for the little one. The little one is claiming her space as the little one when it suits her. Right?
Always. And it's bad when the oldest turns around and says, I am not your servant.
Beautiful.
And
and it's hard as parents. I know from a fact and who I deal with, that it's so easy to lean on the old one because you just know she's easy, she'll just do it, right? And then we're also creating that division when the little one, in certain things can step up, and in certain things she's 3.5. So
we can only expect so much.
To put the shoes all in line by the door, something completely different, and give her a break from the whole dinner meal thing, if that serves, right? Okay, so that makes a bit of sense. You could
absolutely, yeah, okay. Very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, very welcome. Very welcome. Anything else? Any other sort of slides in there for now?
I'm just trying to think with her. Anything else with her that pops up? With the oldest, it's just the mindfulness of watching how sometimes as a mom, and I'm a human being, so I'm not perfect. Really,
we have to get rid of this guilt and shame. We don't know. We do not know how to do things on that particular day with that particular child with everybody's energy. It's new. So we're learning. So please don't worry. There's no judgment, no guilt stuff, because we're all in it.
Yeah. So with her, sometimes I don't watch what I say. And to me, it wouldn't hurt me if I was the one on the receiving end. Yeah. But to her, she's 7, and she's not fragile, but she's sensitive. So she does take everything to heart. So there have been moments where I've turned around and I've responded in a way and said, well, no, this way. And I've hurt her feelings, not knowing I've hurt her feelings by just turning around, and my response wasn't what she was looking for.
Right.
So I struggle with that a bit, and my husband's a little bit more mindful of that than I am, which is kind of interesting. But I think because he's got 3 females in the home,
he's always on the sensitive alert. Did I just,
So sometimes I'll respond, and it's usually around busy time. So around like either getting dinner ready on the table, and she'll want to have this in-depth discussion or make this decision at this time, where I turn around and I tell her, not right now, please. We'll discuss this when we have the time and the space to talk about. And I watch my husband sometimes from the corner of my eye, and he's looking at me and he's like, give her a little bit of attention. And I get that. And I know I am guilty for that, but I'm like, there's only so much I can do as a mom, as an individual. And right now, I am cooking meat on the stove, and that's my priority.
Right. So what I would love, what I see there would be, and you won't actually have to do it for long, because it will just be, is you right away, as soon as that comes up, as you sense it, as it comes up, turn everything off, whatever you're doing, put it down, sit down, look her in the eye and say, how can I help you?
Oh, I love that.
And then as she talks, you've got eye-to-eye contact, so you're not allowed to be doing half chopping, half whatever. Likelihood it really won't be long. It'll be way quicker than the brush off of like, oh my, and I understand the brush off because we're busy, we're hungry, we're doing dinner, but we get focused on that doing, and in the end, if you eat 5-10 minutes later, it doesn't matter.
It's true.
Right? In the big scheme of things, it doesn't matter. And that lovely sit and look at her, and then once she's spoken, whatever she's speaking, you can say, oh my goodness, I love that. And I can think of lots of ideas we could talk about let me continue with dinner, and right after dinner or during dinner, let's talk about that.
Oh, I love that.
Right? Poof, done. She got her that need that needed filling at that moment, and that's, it's hard to do it at that time. And many a time it's like, oh my God, right now, you have to ask me right now. But that's us wanting them to go on our schedule. She doesn't have to be on our schedule. She's got her little thought, how lovely she's sharing that. And when she sees that mummy cares, we know you care. That's not that. She's getting that eye to eye, that moment. You set up that time and honor that. I know you will, whatever, whenever you've said it, and come back to doing it. Or maybe it's something saying, you know what, I'm actually cutting vegetables. Why don't you pull up a chair, be next to me, and I'll listen. Right? But once we've done that eye to eye contact, it's so precious. It is so, so precious to stop. You're worthy. I hear you. Then it's not right now. Then it's other stuff going on. But that kind of moment, you think you could do that?
Oh, I love that. That is a brilliant suggestion.
Right? Because it's just a couple of minutes. It really is. And often we forget that. It feels like, and I'm totally into this, we go full force because we always feels like we're constantly juggling and balancing. And then when you can step back and you go, she matters. Pasta's overboiled. She matters. Or if you can sort of, it's really important, you stop, you say that to her, and if it feels like it's really important and you want to take care of it, then call your husband in and say, can you finish, or at least turn this off when it's done, empty it, whatever it is, and go sit with her if it's needed to right there, right then.
Oh, I love that.
Good, okay.
Lovely, I love it. Thank you for the suggestion.
No problem. I've been in it. I understand that side of things, that's on how it goes. And I think that for those moments, and then the awareness of our tone on the times when we can't stop, or when she's feeling a little sensitive. And it's really tricky when we're not as sensitive, or we're not on the same energy level, and we don't know what her day was like. We don't really know. We always say, oh, how's your day? Everyone goes, oh, good. And girls generally chat a little more. You don't necessarily get to the core things. Right? And it's not even for you to solve, it's just for you to hold space and listen and look, so that she gets that.
Yes, my 7-year-old especially, she's very random when she opens up, and it tends to be on a drive when her and I are in the car by ourselves, and where we could be listening to music or whatever, and all of a sudden from the back seat she'll give me this whole story that I'm driving, and I'm like, holy cow, I just got hit with a major life situation in her life that I had no clue had happened.
No. But you know what's lovely with that, Marisa, is you obviously have such a open space to her that she can tell you. That is really precious. And there's times that they won't tell us as they get bigger. But it's the idea that she right away knows my mum is listening, my mum has got this. I want to share this with my mum, and like you say, like it comes random. And I find the car one of the best places. It's not the best for us driving, but in terms of them sharing, I know what it's definitely is in teenage years for my son. Him sitting next to me in the car as we were driving, I would be amazed he would just talk, and otherwise there would be no talking. And I had to be really careful to just listen and not come in with ideas and suggestions like we like, and we're all kind of like, oh, why? Oh, that's not good, or whatever. And just listen, because it's there that we stay connected and know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. And in trying to be, the one thing I told myself before I became a parent, because I grew up in a very strict European home and very old school, very much in that kind. And I told myself that there were certain things that I wouldn't pass on to my children, and I wouldn't raise them the same way.
Right.
And so, there was lots of things that were taboo, and I didn't reach out to my parents or speak to them about, whereas with my girls, from the minute with anything, and I will listen without any judgment.
Beautiful. And that gets tougher as they get bigger, and a lot of things in. But what I'm saying is that's where you want to establish it now, when it's cute stories, it's nice stories, or hurtful stories, or whatever, but they're all okay in a 7-year-old.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And, so it's so awesome to set that up now that, you know, I mean, it's a daily thing I have to say to mine too, you know, no matter what, I want to be here and listen, but I find it really hard to shut up.
Oh, yeah.
Really hard not to give my little, well, if you would, how about you try? They're not coming to you for that, right? Or when they are, let them ask.
Yes.
Mom, what do you think about? Yeah. And it's lovely that you set that up as a thought beforehand. You'd already figured out, okay, I want my kids to come to you. And it's really tricky when we don't get conscious, because we quite quickly go into those patterns that we know are so part of our being, that suddenly go, hey, no, I don't want to be that parent, right? Because that's ingrained. That's what we know. So no matter how conscious you get, when it's face to face with this little person who is perhaps doing something you don't approve of, or who is being a bit naughty, or being a bit loud, or a bit rude, or grumpy, right? That we have to step back and sort of say, okay, meet you where you're at, and deal with it in this moment, what is, as opposed to, like you say, to sort of have a preconceived idea about what they want to say. So I think these family meetings are going to be precious for you guys, because you already have dialogue going. You know, and there'll be things that they'll suggest that maybe you don't really like, but you're going to listen and say, okay, let's try that. That sounds great. Yeah. Give that a try.
Yeah, I'm excited to start this, because I think it'll help us significantly. You're right. I love the tidbits. They're great.
Oh, good. Awesome. Well, thank you. I really appreciate you sort of being vulnerable like this, being open like this, to sort of share, because we really have to stop this taboo through parenting that we should know, or that we get it right. Because we do, many times we do, and many times we don't, and that's fine. Right? But we do carry that guilt and the shame, like, you know, and then it tumbles, right? It sort of tumbles, that suddenly you're like, gosh, everything is so overwhelming, until you can step back and go, actually, no, I need my self-care, which is lovely. I can see right away you've got support, you and your husband. That is beautiful. You know, and that you're taking time for yourself on a regular basis. We have to build that a little bit, so that you can show up, like you say, present and grounded, because you're already fulfilled. Because they don't need to fulfill us. That takes all that off their side of things, right?
And it sets an example for them too. I think it teaches them that they can take their own space, they can take their own time, and build their own little ritual of whatever during their day to just get themselves back in the game, take a breather.
Yes, absolutely. And so many of those things, we search out for new techniques, and we search out for new things, and then ultimately it's, what are we doing? That's the lesson. I remember growing up in England, like, one of the things my stepdad used to say, oh, don't do as I say. No, don't do as I do as I say. Yeah. And you realize the lessons are what you do, not what you say. We can have a billion words, but what we do and how we respond, being okay to apologize, right? We're human, but not as an excuse, just like, oh, I just felt really overwhelmed there and shouted, I'm sorry for that. That wasn't my intention. I'm going to take a few minutes so that I can get myself back, and then I'll join you again. You know, those kind of things, so that it's based on surviving real world, real life. That's what we're preparing them for, right? That they have these techniques in there, and they'll have them because you're going to demonstrate them. You're going to show that mummy's important. Mummy's got this loves that she loves to do, and your job and your work and all your other things. And we'll find things to fulfill me. And that's what you're demonstrating. So they realize that they don't have to carry everything either. Yeah.
Oh, wow, that's powerful. Thank you.
Pretty neat, right? Pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much. Let me just stop the recording.
Sure.
Thank you for being with me.
No problem. This was great.